Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news, the sights and sounds of the 2016 Boxing Day Junkanoo Parade. A silver lining to the recent credit rating downgrade by Standard & Poor's. How a Freedom of Information Act can impact your life. What you can do to fight violence against women. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina McNeil. Topping news tonight, thousands of people lined Bay and Shirley streets this morning for the 2016 Boxing Day Junkanoo Parade. The annual event kicked off just after midnight to a sold-out crowd. Our Dana Smith was there and has the highlights.
A lot of energy out on Bay Street this morning as all of the Junkanoo groups bring the feathers, the gems, the glitter, and of course their A-game, all in the hopes of taking the top spot.
First out the gate this morning, the Valley Boys with the theme, Let's Enforce the Law. Larger-than-life policemen and women on motorcycles set the stage as other members of the country's armed forces danced in the wake. Dancers depicting officers of the law rocked the crowd as bedazzled firemen, court magistrates, crime scene investigators, members of the U.S. Coast Guard, EMS, and more showed off their moves. Valley Boys, who are always a crowd favorite, are hoping to cinch their fourth consecutive parade victory this year, having won each Boxing Day event since 2014. Not too far behind the Valley Boys, the Roots danced down Bay Street under the theme, The Golden Dynasty of Raw. The group brought the majesty of ancient Egypt to Nassau as beautiful bronze dancers, decked out in glitter and gems, showed off their moves. And one family brought a little magic to downtown Nassau with their theme, Disney, Let the Magic Begin. Not too far behind one family, the Saxons took to Bay Street under the theme, Guard and Protect the Wonders of Our Marine Environment. Percy Francis served as captain on the lead costume, which saw larger-than-life lionfish, dolphins, and turtles decked out in colorful sequins and stones. In their first time competing for the top spot in the A group category, the Genesis Junkanoo group brought the crowd to its feet with their theme, Remember When, Bring Back the Good Old Days. Category A groups did 3 laps this year, the first on Bay Street, the second on Shirley Street, and then as the sun came up over downtown Nassau, the groups brought the energy one more time for a final lap down Bay Street. Reporting for Our News, I'm Dana Smith.
Well, it was a completely sold-out crowd at this morning's Boxing Day Parade, according to Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Dr. Daniel Johnson, who spoke to our news on the sidelines of the parade. He says although 2 groups didn't make it onto Bay because of damage by Hurricane Matthew, the event saw a lot of upgrades this year, and things keep getting bigger and better.
This is a absolutely sold out crowd. We expanded some areas. We brought in the Jumbotron and the Rosin Square, as you see. We got the groups ready. We're missing one or two of our favorite groups because of hurricane damage. But this is a fantastic evening. You saw the Valley come out on time, on the dot. The parade is flowing, which has been the main complaint about the parade in the past, is that the big gaps. There are no gaps tonight. Every time you see one group pass, the next one's ready.
A group, Prodigal Sons, was among the groups that didn't make it out on the parade route, reportedly because of damage suffered by Hurricane Matthew. Meanwhile, one of the major upgrades to the parade was a huge LED screen in Rosin Square, which entertained spectators during the short gaps between groups and highlighted the groups as they made their way down the road. Johnson promised that next year's event will feature another major boost, but he didn't want to give away any details.
People enjoying a beautiful night, a little breeze, once or twice some big gusts, but it's a really fantastic night. Merry Christmas, everyone, everywhere. Welcome to the greatest show on earth. The next thing I want to tell you all, stay tuned because Junkanoo is going to get a major boost in the coming year.
Interesting. You can't give us any more details than that?
Stay tuned.
Well, while thousands of Bahamians were watching Junkanoo, police were called to the scene of a shooting that left one man dead. Police say shortly after 3 a.m. they learned that 3 women and 2 men were driving along Tonique-Williams-Darling Highway when the occupants of a white Honda vehicle pulled alongside them and fired several shots before speeding off. All 5 victims were transported to hospital for treatment. One of the men succumbed to his injuries. The remaining victims are currently listed in stable condition. Investigations continue. In other news, although the recent downgrade of the country's economy to junk status by ratings agency Standard & Poor's is a cause for concern, there is a silver lining. This according to Prime Minister Perry Christie, who spoke to our news on the sidelines of the Boxing Day Junkanoo parade this morning. He pointed to S&P's upgrade of the country's economic outlook and explained good things are on the horizon. Dana Smith reports.
Last week, the world's largest credit ratings agency downgraded the Bahamas' sovereign credit rating in a grim report on the country's economic health. It's the 4th downgrade since the Christie administration took office. However, S&P did give the country a stable outlook for the economy, an improvement over its prior negative outlook. Christie today said he's optimistic.
We feel that we have to see the silver lining in it, where they move from a negative to stable investment upgrade. We see that as important. We see that the difference between the government and S&P is one of timing, that they say, yes, things will happen, but we don't think it will happen as quickly as you're saying it will happen.
Christie also reiterated comments he made in Grand Bahama last week, where he asserted it must be acknowledged that S&P, in its report, noted the downgrade is in part due to the impact and costs associated with Hurricanes Joaquin and Matthew. He had said, "We're talking about a country that has been devastated not by the decisions of the government, but by the allowance of God." Christie suggested today, once the hurricane-impacted islands recover, the country's economy will see a rebound.
I wanted to make the point that with the 2 hurricanes back-to-back, I call it an act of God, that we have to appreciate there's nothing we can do about it, and that our infrastructural commitment, our commitment to fix the infrastructure, is really to restore the economy. That is a very necessary prerequisite of economic development, fixing the damage.
Christie said his government is certain Bahamar's opening will not only pump more money into the economy, but will also have a positive effect on the country's unemployment statistics, which currently stands at 11.6% as of October. Christie also pointed to other tourism developments taking place around the country.
There is going to be continuous expansion of existing businesses in Bimini. The investment in Bimini is going to expand. In Abaco, we expect that the Four Seasons development that has been long promised in Eleuthera will break ground early this year coming up. We know that the Williamstown Children's Bakey in Exuma will break ground in January, February. And we know that Stocking Island development will soon have job fairs. So we feel that out and beyond Bahama, there will be dynamic investment opportunities through development in our country, more people hired, more money in the economy, and we are optimistic.
Christie added the one challenge the country has is Grand Bahama.
That in Grand Bahama, the Lucayan Beach Hotel remains closed, Memories remains closed, the container port remains closed, and all of those are connected to the economy, and therefore it has a dampening effect on the economy. Notwithstanding that, we're working hard. We've met with Hutchison Whampoa. We're meeting with them and discussing whether or not they sell the hotels to interested buyers, but they continue to move towards having Memories and Lucayan Beach opened. And once they're opened, we're working towards having the container port opened. And so clearly in Grand Bahama, there is a tremendous challenge that can only be overcome by getting those developments, those repair developments going and getting more people back to work.
Christie said his administration had a chance to speak with S&P representatives and indicate its position on the matter. In an official statement released in the immediate aftermath of the downgrade, the Bahamas government had said it's of the view that S&P did not give appropriate weight to important developments on the ground. Reporting for Our News, I'm Dana Smith.
Still to come on Our News, a local group takes a stance against sexual violence in the country and building a lasting legacy of beach soccer in the country. That's coming up when Our News returns.